Hello, and welcome back to the Very Real Estate Effect podcast, a show dedicated to real estate investing right here in Quebec. Hello, everyone. Hello, Roxanne. I will introduce you in just a second. And we have Dino on the line as well. For those who are watching on YouTube, you can see him. For those listening on the podcast, you can't hear him because he's in the middle of a construction zone. And he is joining us in thought and in spirit and in good, positive energy. And all the questions he has, he'll put it in the chat. So, hi, Dino, even though you can't respond. How are you doing? Yay, big thumbs up. All right, that's what matters. Always positive. So today we are interviewing Roxanne Gora, who is an evaluator with Colliers, and I look really forward to this conversation because I've used numerous evaluations and there's always a bit of mystery. So I hope, Roxanne, you're going to be able to enlighten us on exactly what goes on.
Yes, I'll do my best. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. We've been planning this for quite a while. So you know what? Actually, before we jump right into it, I will just like to remind everyone, thank you for listening. It's really appreciated. Please share it with a friend who you think could benefit from this conversation. Leave us a review, send us some comments, and it really helps. And it warms my heart every time I get an email. So there you go. So Roxanne, how in the world did you start doing some appraisals?
So I was doing my undergrad degree in finance at Jean Molson. I think I was in my last year, and I quickly realized I don't want to do my CFA. I don't want to just be working with numbers. So I did a simple Google search one night. I'm a big fan of history and architecture, so I thought, let me see if I could maybe put the two together somehow. And I don't remember what the search was that I did, but basically I came across the Appraisal Institute of Canada website. And then the rest is history. I signed up for the courses after, and as I was working at a small real estate holdings company in Montreal, I started my studies, and then I moved over to Colliers. So
wow. Okay, and so you've been at Colliers ever since university?
About 2 years after. So I've been at Colliers for about it'll be 7 years next September. So.
Wow. Okay. So you've seen quite a few. Okay, that at least helps set the stage, and I completely understand you. I thought I wanted to be a banker when I was younger. I studied economics, and after a while I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be so bored. Anyways, funny how life goes.
That's it.
So Colliers, and so you do the appraisals over there. I know Colliers more for the large commercial properties. What kind of asset classes do you guys look at?
So we do really everything. So outside of single family residential, we do income producing multifamily, retail, office, industrial, land, self-storage, you name it. Any commercial property, we can do it. We have specialists. We have offices across Canada, appraisal teams across Canada in different cities. So we do a little bit of everything.
Okay. So yeah, over the last 2 years, you must have had quite a bit of work.
Yes, it was quite interesting the past 2 years.
Everyone's refinancing. I need an appraisal, quick.
Why?
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Like,
sure.
A lot of questions I've heard is around the evaluation is, well, how did they go about it? Because there is for an owner, there's always a little bit of a sentimental value. I tend to think owners always think the value is higher than what it actually is.
I've never heard of that before. I've never seen that.
Wow.
Never. No.
Okay.
No.
That's not reassuring. So I was going to say, like, just very generally, like, how do you go about establishing the value of a property? And I know it's a long question. And what are the important factors that you consider?
Okay. So I would say that it's twofold. It's a combination of qualitative elements and quantitative elements. And both of those are completely intertwined. So to start, let's say we're looking at a multifamily property, for example, or really any property. We start at the base. So we start qualitative. So where is it located in a macro, micro? Which city is it in? Which neighborhood is it in? Depending on the asset type, if it's industrial, is it close to highways? If it's multifamily, is it close to public transit, places of employment? Then we'll look at the site, the zoning, what's allowed to be there, and then finally the building that's located on it. Is it old? Has it been well maintained? What's the quality condition? And then, of course, we look at the financial aspect, which is going to be the net operating income and the cap rate that creates value, right? But those qualitative attributes are going to directly impact the financial aspect of it. So, for example, the rents. Has it been well maintained? Is it centrally located? That'll impact the rents, impact your NOI, impact your value. So we look at everything, and all those little pieces create the whole.
Yeah. And there's so many, because there's so many things in there. Is that I'm gonna go pick an extreme, but like, because I'm in this situation right now. Let's say you're buying a nice piece of land with a dumpy 4-unit that's in ruins. It's leaking and everything, but it's surrounded by large multi-families. People would look at the fourplex and be worth, well, that's worth like 200K a door, 800, and that's it. That's all, even though you could build 16 units on it. Right. And so when you get files like that, like, how do you go about it? Because I understand you look at the numbers, but actually right now that property is completely vacant. It's worth nothing.
Right. So, I mean, we look at the highest and best use, right? So highest and best use, meaning what's allowed there, physical attributes, what's going on in the market right now. Would something bigger be absorbed well by the market? Is there demand for this location? And then that's how we move forward. That's how we'd appraise something like that. So again, if it's located somewhere that's, in demand, let's say they're adding a new REM station, is there upside there? Is there the chance to, put some money in, renovate, and then you have really nice units that would get a lot of demand from the local community? Then we consider all those attributes.
Yeah, and as you said, like everything that's going on around it, and the development side of, hey, yeah, there is going to be a REM station half a kilometer away, and how is that going to impact the rents in the future, and therefore the property value?
Exactly, right. So like we have to always look at one point in time in the market. But again, we have to think, okay, well, what's going on around the property and what's going to be there one day? And while we can't project, we have to be supportive of what we're seeing now. So we'd have to put rents that we see are happening in the market. But certainly the cap rate, if we're looking at, well, what are sites or what are properties trading for that are near REM stations? Oh, the cap rate is actually much lower. So that's how we can capture that upside and capture what's going to be there one day.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I see what you mean by the breakdown between the qualitative and the quantitative, and how it affects. Because there's some that are tangible and some that are less so. And it's always hard to predict, like, well, once the REM station gets developed, what is the rent going to be in 2 years?
Well, that's it.
Okay, so then let's say, I'm just going to throw in a question like that. So let's say you get into a house that's with a nice finish, it's well decorated, taken care of, and really your type of property. Is there any emotion or personal liking that the appraiser has that may affect his value? Like,
no.
Yeah.
We have to don't laugh, it's true.
I know.
Our job as an appraiser is to provide an unbiased opinion of value, and the value has to be directly supported by market evidence. So while owners might be able to be attached and think, hey, like, I put in this great finish and everyone's going to like it, the reality is the market might be showing you something completely different. Maybe the market cares that they have to park outside when there's 20 feet of snow, and it would have been far better for an underground parkade to be included in a multifamily property, let's say, for example. So no, emotions not in it. We are cold when we are looking at the facts, hard facts.
And so, by the way, this question was from Dino, and I guess we're jumping ahead a little bit because that was later on a point I wanted to bring up. So I'll raise it now, is that for owners, there is an emotional attachment. There is a bias because we've owned it for 10 years. We've worked on it. Sometimes we had an interesting memory over there. We build a relationship and stuff like that. And so obviously we tend to think that the value is higher, and hence why, while your job being a third party, and I'm thinking of like, for financing purposes, you're going to be able to come in cold-hearted and to say, those are the numbers, those are the facts. So then let me flip the question around. Is there something that owners can do to influence an appraiser?
So not to influence us, but I'll quote my dad, a liar can figure, but figures don't lie. So again, like I said, the numbers, we look at the numbers and the numbers are supported by the quality. So basically, if you're looking, for example, to maximize the value of your property, again, I'll go back to multifamily.
Yeah.
Your NOI. So your NOI is your main base. Let's say you want to increase your NOI because you say, I'm going to lower my repairs and maintenance. I'm going to lower my expenses. My NOI is going to come up. But you might remove the equilibrium or the nature of having it as a stabilized asset if you lower your R&M. So let's say you lower your R&M and now you're not taking care of your units. You're not maintaining your units that well. The fridge keeps breaking. The counters needed to, be better maintained or something like that. That's going to directly impact your rent. And that also might impact your occupancy. Maybe your tenant's not going to renew because why? This landlord's not taking care of my building.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden your revenue is going to come down. So again, so you really need to properly manage it and look at it on a stabilized basis. And that's how you'll maximize your revenue.
Yeah. So any difference that when you get a request for an appraisal, do you see or make any difference when the appraisal is asked for an owner versus a bank? And then further than that, like for a purchase or versus a refi, does it make a difference to you?
No, I mean, we're determining market value. And generally our clients are, they're contacting us for an appraisal. And then most common would be because, let's say, they're acquiring the property and they need it for financing as part of the due diligence process. But no, I mean, the only thing that really matters in different appraisal values is what's the scenario you're looking at. But we're always determining market value, and it doesn't matter who the user is.
Okay. So where can people find out more about you? What's the best way to get in touch?
So via email or even just giving me a call. I mean, I'll provide all my contact details for you, Axel. And
perfect.
People can feel free to reach out.
Is it okay if I put your email in the show notes?
Of course.
Okay, perfect. We'll do that. And so if you need an appraisal, if you have questions, do not hesitate to contact Roxanne, or maybe just I was going to say, well, maybe not just don't call to shoot the shit, but you have to have an interesting question.
Yes, please be interesting.
Yeah. Well, that was fun. Thank you very much, Roxanne. It's a pleasure. And out of every conversation, we always learn something. For those who aren't seeing and listening, Dino is giving big thumbs up. He seems very happy, and he's in the warm weather, so no wonder. Thank you very much to everyone. Keep sharing this episode with a friend, and tune in next week for another episode. Thank you very much and have a great day. Ciao.